Hi everybody, my name is Grace Ferguson. I'm a student here at JU. I am a member of the second degree Accelerated BSN program. I started in August and I'll be finishing and graduating this coming August, which is very exciting. I remember being on the flip side of this last spring and just having so many questions, so I'm excited to answer any questions you all may have about my experience here at JU, or any general questions you have about the Accelerated BSN programs. So a typical class day starts around 8 a.m. We'll have class until 11 or 12, and then we'll break for lunch. We'll have lunch for an hour, and then we usually come back in the afternoon for another class session. It's usually a little bit shorter, 2 hours, 3 hours. Right now we're in a class block that runs for 4 hours in the morning and then 4 hours in the afternoon. So that makes for a long day, but our professors are really good. They're very intentional about having us get up and walk around every hour, sending us to go get a coffee, go for a walk. And then they're also great about not lecturing for 4 straight hours. It's lecture for an hour and then break into groups and do group work, group project, something with our hands, some kind of dynamic learning to sort of break up the monotony of just straight lecturing. So they are long days, but it's not sitting for 8 hours a day, which is great. All right, so we're on a little class break right now, so I'm outside going for a walk. What stood out to me about JU's program is that it's the fastest one I could find. I'm originally from up north, but most of the programs there are about 2 years, but JU had the 12-month program, which was super exciting for me just because I really wanted to get to work and get my nursing degree. So that was the main thing that stood out to me about JU's program. And then I was pleasantly surprised by just the outstanding faculty, and then my classmates are just incredible as well. In terms of balancing academic life, social life, clinicals, homework, I think the most helpful tool for me has been keeping a planner. So I use a paper planner, I use a whiteboard calendar, and then I also use my phone, just the Notes app, for daily to-do lists. So for the day-to-day, I keep everything I need to do that day on my phone. And then for bigger picture deadlines throughout the semester, I put them all on my whiteboard calendar just so that I can visualize all of the things that need to get done that month, and I can be thinking about them ahead of time. And then in my planner, I keep more personal stuff, but also school deadlines. If I'm traveling, I put my clinicals in my paper calendar, and honestly, it's kind of whatever works best for you personally, for figuring out how to schedule yourself. But then I also make sure every day to schedule in time for myself or social time, sitting by the pool, reading a book. I make sure I'm going to the gym or going outside several times a week, if not every day. You can't do it every day. Some people maybe can do it every day. I can't do it every day. But making sure I'm getting outside, getting moving. And then I also schedule unscheduled time. I'm someone who really likes to plan things out, but sometimes you just need an unscheduled day. So every couple weeks, you get overwhelmed, you have tons of schoolwork, but sometimes you just need unscheduled time. So even if it's just a morning or an afternoon, I'll just block off the whole thing, and whatever I feel like doing, I do. If it's sitting by the pool, if it's going for a walk, if it's going out for ice cream, if it's going to the beach, just giving yourself that little space to breathe, I find, is critical for being able to balance everything else, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you're not kind of rejuvenating yourself in whatever way you do that, I find it hard to stay on top of the academics and the clinical side of things. A typical clinical day starts around 6:30 a.m. You'll meet up at the hospital with your clinical group, which is usually 4 to 5 other students from your cohort, and then your clinical instructor. So that'll be your group for the day. You'll do a pre-conference, talk about your goals for the day, any assignments you might have. Your instructor will sort of give you the lay of the land of the floor you're going to visit. And then you go upstairs, meet the nurses you'll be shadowing, sort of orient yourself to the unit you're on that day, and then you start the day with a nurse. They usually have morning meds, so you'll do morning meds, and then you'll leave the unit for lunch. It just depends on the day. It depends on how busy the unit is. Usually it's 11, 11:30, 12. So we'll meet up with your clinical group again. You'll come together, have lunch together, kind of debrief anything that was going on or any questions you have. Take a lunch, go back to the unit for the afternoon. There'll be afternoon meds. You might see some procedures. Depending on what class you're in, you'll get to pass meds or not pass meds if you aren't there yet. But even if you're not doing hands-on stuff, it's great just learning by observation. So you'll be up on the floor until 4 or 5. Then you'll meet with your clinical group again. So you'll come off the floor. Usually the lobbies of the hospitals have little conference rooms. So you'll meet up in a conference room, and then we have debrief. So meet up in a conference room, and then we have debrief. So some clinical instructors will have you give report on the patient that you were assigned to that day, so you can tell your classmates and your clinical instructor about your patient, what was going on with them today, what meds they were on, any procedures they had, something you learned. Post-conference is also a good time for any questions, debriefing any situations. There's a lot of situations in healthcare at the hospital, so anything that was uncomfortable or upsetting or scary or exciting, that's the time to kind of debrief it all. So that's really valuable time too, post-conference. And then usually you're leaving by 6 or 7, so those again are also long days, but incredible learning opportunities. All right, so we are in the break room, some friends having lunch, and we just got out of morning classes. So in terms of study tips, I asked a bunch of my cohort mates, and the most people said YouTube, like YouTube videos. Simple Nursing is a really helpful resource. Khan Academy has really good videos. I'm a visual learner, so I like to do the visual videos are really helpful to me. And then a lot of classes will give you guided notes or study guides. So it's helpful to go through those. And then it's helpful to do it in groups. We have a lot of study groups within our cohort. And then right before the exam too, going around saying like what you think was the most important thing, just hearing different people's perspectives helps you get out of your own head and then just hear what everybody else thinks is important. Oh, and then also paying attention in class is honestly the best way to study, because that's the first time you're exposed to things and the professor is literally telling you what they want to know for the exam. So just paying attention in class, listening to that, and then studying off of what they tell you in class. Testing days are kind of like any other day. I mean, it's worked into the whole class day just because it is so accelerated. We have to get moving and do things quickly, but you'll typically have your exam first thing in the morning, which is nice to just get it out of the way. So you come in, take your exam, and then when everyone's done, you just head back into class because it's an accelerated program and you have to get the work in. All right, so I'm walking in the nursing building right now. We have this pretty garden that runs through the middle, but it's rare that you'll have classes 5 days in a row. Basically, each class has its own schedule, and then you have classes that run for 8 weeks, 7 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So it basically changes. It's rare that you'll have 5 days in a row of class. So for example, right now, we have class all day Monday and all day Thursday. I have clinicals all day Wednesday, all day Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday is my off day. So typically you'll have like at least one off day in a week, and then 2 or 3 class days, and then 1 or 2 clinical days. So it's rare that you'll have 5 days in a row of class. You might have 5 days in a row between class and clinical, but generally not 5 class days in a row. And then sometimes clinicals can be on the weekends. Weekends are fair game for clinicals, but you won't ever have class on the weekends. All right, I'm going for another little stroll to fill up my water bottle. The first semester is busy but manageable. I think our professors did a fantastic job of kind of easing us into the program and teaching us how to do nursing school before we really got into the thick of it and were kind of overwhelmed. So the first semester, again, busy but manageable, slower than the spring. So the fall is a nice time to kind of get acclimated, get to know your peers, get to know your professors. I am not working during this program. They highly recommend that you do not work during the program because it is so busy and you have to be really flexible. I think the most challenging part of the program has been learning time management and learning how to prioritize, because we take a lot of exams, we have a lot of assignments, we spend a lot of hours in class, we spend a lot of hours in clinical, and sometimes it feels like there just are not enough hours in the day, and sometimes there aren't enough hours in the day. So really learning how to manage your time, allocate time to different assignments and studying and homework, and then also taking into account the fact that we have to eat and sleep and socialize. So just working everything in sometimes feels like a really big challenge, and I know that was more so the case at the beginning of the program. I think I have certainly, and my classmates have all, we've practiced it, so I think we're better at it now, 8 or 9 months into the program. But yeah, that was, I think, the most challenging part. My favorite part of the program has been the relationships I've been able to form with my professors and also with my classmates. Our faculty is spectacular. I've never felt more comfortable asking a teacher for help, asking to come to office hours, asking for a recommendation letter, advice on anything, on interview tips, resume help. I've gotten to the point where I'll just go up to their offices during a lunch break and just kind of plop down in their office and chat about what's ever on my mind, whether it was like their last exam or a scholarship I'm applying for or a job I'm looking at. They're really a great group, and they really, they're quite interested in us as people. They're quite interested in us succeeding. They want us to succeed, and you can tell by the way they offer help, and they sort of proactively look for ways to help. If they sort of see that a student is struggling, they'll reach out to you and be like, hey, like, what's going on? I've had professors reach out to me, say like, hey, I noticed your test score kind of was lower than you usually score. Like, is anything going on? Can I help with anything? So really just like checking in on you as a person, I think makes them special. And then also my classmates, we truly are each other's biggest cheerleaders, and I'm grateful for that because they're the ones who know what I'm going through. I know what they're going through. We're all in the same boat. So having them as cheerleaders and being able to be their cheerleader has been really special, and I've loved getting to know them. Each and every one of them are just spectacular. All right, guys, that is a wrap for my Instagram takeover. We just got out of the lab. I'm outside the nursing building right now, but we were up in the lab for a mega code practice that we have next week, and then we also had immersive learning today. So just finishing up all that, and definitely if you have any more questions, you can absolutely reach out to your admissions counselor. They're a really good resource for any questions that you guys have regarding the program. So yeah, thanks for coming along, and we'll hope to see you on campus.